This is the smashing cans or smashing sausages experiment. You're going to see why it's called either of those in a minute. What you need for this, well, the title gives you a clue straight away. You need a can of food. Now, I want you to use one that's not been used for anything. I've just got a couple here, in fact there's two more there, where you remove the label, okay? So just remove the label, it's got to be full up of food. You can choose which one you use. If I remember rightly, these were baked beans, okay, just to tell you, so these were baked beans. And make sure you can see there is normally a thin line. It's difficult to see on camera in this one because it's very faint in here. But when they make cans, sometimes they fold the metal around and overlap it and join it together here. Now usually what we call the seam, the join on the can, is in the same place as the join on the label. Not always, but usually. And you can normally feel it as a bit of a bump near where they overlap the label. So you need to find that little line, okay? And in a minute, you're going to hold the can in your hand. Let's pretend the line is there on the top. I'm describing to you what we call the seam, where the metal overlaps. You'll see a very faint line. I can only just see it on this one anyway. And hold it there like that, so it's in underneath your hand there. Okay, so no seam there. So hold it like that, so there's no seam on the can there. That's how I want you to hold it in a minute. Okay, but I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to remind you again, because it's really important. I'm going to place that down there for a minute. I want you to find some plasticine, okay? Get some plasticine. What I want you to do is to roll it on a board like this. This is just a chopping board. I want you to roll it into a sausage shape. Now, I'm not going to do it right now. I want you to do that. So roll it into a sausage shape, okay? And when you've done it, make sure it's about that long, okay? And about, say, 20 centimetres long, something like that, and about maybe a bit wider than a grown-up's thumb, okay? So a bit wider than a grown-up's thumb. So it looks a bit like a sausage, albeit made out of plasticine, so don't eat it, right? So roll a sausage made out of plasticine, nice and even width all around the way along. So it might take you a few minutes to do it, so just roll it out, roll it out, roll it out, so you get a nice, smooth, even sausage shape, okay? And you'll have it on your board. Now this experiment is a bit aggressive. I don't want you doing it on a lovely table like this sort of thing where you could make some damage, okay? Best place, I think, to do this is in the kitchen on a nice strong work surface, okay? Most kitchens have strong thick work surfaces near around the sink and where people prepare food. Sometimes a big strong wooden dining table would be okay, but I do recommend usually the side where people normally make food in the kitchen. And then a nice strong wooden board. Don't use ones that are made of glass or any other material that could break or be brittle, because we're going to have to whack it pretty hard, so make sure you can use something you're allowed to whack a bit. Now wood's good for this, okay? Remember, if it doesn't belong to you, ask if you can use it and tell them you're going to be whacking it with a can. Right, what you're going to do, you've already made, let's pretend you made the sausage now, because I haven't done it. Let's pretend the sausage is there, okay? It's in front of you there. I want you to get your can, remember again how to hold it, find where the seam is, hold it like that so the seam is in your hand, touching your skin there. That way up, no seam at all, so clear metal, you can't see any little faint lines or anything. Let's pretend that's the sausage there. I want you to go near one end of the sausage, let's pretend my finger's the sausage. I want you to push the can down and push slowly. Remember, the sausage is resting on this board. Push slowly, lean quite hard down on it, but just push slowly, okay? You can push hard, but just lean slow, do it slowly and see what happens to the plasticine. And also, see what happens to the can when you lift it up afterwards. And notice what you notice. Then turn the board around so you've got the other bit of plasticine the other end. It hasn't had anything done to it. Nearly said then what was going to happen. So nothing's been done to that other end. And if your can still looks nice and clear like that, I want you to get it. And instead of doing it slowly, I want you to lift it up and as hard and as fast as you can, you whack it down really hard as you can and fast as you can, really fast and hard, whack onto the end of the sausage there that you made, and try and aim so you hit the can right in the middle. Okay, so aim it there, not at the edge like that or there, as near as the middle of the can you can. So pretend that's the plasticine, the bit you haven't whacked yet. You get the can and you go really fast and hard, whack onto the plasticine. Keep all your hands out of the way, of course, the other hand. Don't want you anywhere near it. You might even put it behind your back for this one. So go whack like that and see what happens. Now, all my explanation was just saying, I want you to make this, I want you to do that. I didn't actually do it. Remember I told you, I want you to do it somewhere where it's very strong, nice strong tables. I don't want to do it here. This surface might crack and break, so I don't want to do it here. So this is what happened when we did it in the kitchen. Okay, so this is the smashing cans experiment in a kitchen. Now remember, I need you to find somewhere very strong and sturdy to do this. I'm using this nice strong surface here. I've got a cutting board here. Make sure you don't use the best one in the house. You want a good strong sturdy cutting board. Definitely don't use ceramic or glass. A wooden one is the best for this, I would say. As you can see, I've got my plasticine there rolled out. It's about roughly similar size to my thumb, a bit fatter actually. There's the can I'm going to be using. Remember what I said about making sure the ridge of the can, I've removed the labels on here. We can't really see very well on camera, but there is a very fine ridge here where they join the can up and join it together. The ridge is here. I'm going to hold that in my hand so it's about there, lined up. So I'm going to be hitting the can with that side underneath onto the end of the plasticine. But first, I'm not actually going to hit it, okay? I'm just going to rest it on, around about there, and I'm just going to push slowly and hard down. Push, 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 push. I'm going to give a bit more of a push. And I'm only pushing slowly, aren't I? Quite slowly. Right, now let's take this off. We've got quite a flat piece there. Okay, look at the can. Not much has happened really, is it? I can't see any markings on that can at all. Right, so pushed it slowly. So what I'm going to do now is turn this around. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing on this end where I haven't done anything yet, but I'm going to do it really fast and really hard. Okay, so really fast and really hard. Now aim first, get a good aim on it, because you want to make sure when you smash it down really fast and really hard, you hit it pretty much in the middle of the can there, okay? And do it as hard and as fast as you can. Ready? So aiming. Now let's see what's happened. I hope you saw, but let me just show you first. Look at the can. Well dented. Look at the dent on that. Compared, nothing happened before, did it? No marks at all. Now, more interestingly, I want you to look what's happened here. So there's our bent can. Let me turn this around. Look at the difference. As you can see, one end where we pushed it really slowly has been well flattened down, hasn't it? But look at the end where I whacked it really hard. There's hardly any damage there compared to the other one. It's hardly been pushed in at all. So what's going on? This is an alternative version of the smashing cans experiment. Now this is where you're going to see me putting my life and my reputation on the line to show you how much I believe in the science I'm doing. This is one I do not want you to do at home, okay? Definitely, definitely not. You need lots of years and years of training, nerves of steel, and I have both. So here we go. And probably a bit of stupidity built in there somewhere. So I'll definitely have some of that. Watch carefully. I will only do this once. Finger in place. What I'm actually going to do is to get the can. Notice this is an ordinary can, very similar to one I've used before on plasticine. I'm going to use this can, and I'm going to put my finger there instead of the plasticine. I'm going to hold the can there. I'm going to come up, and as fast and as hard as I can, I'm going to whack my finger, okay? And this is an ordinary digit, no special effects going on here, okay? Watch carefully. Look at the can. Look at the dent. I lay it there. Look at my finger, still intact. Now really I should have better have got it into the middle of the can because it would have been a bit better for me, but I promise you it doesn't hurt. I'll tell you how I actually felt when I did it, but remember, this is a not do this at home experiment. I'm telling you this just because I don't want you to do it, because you might make a mistake. I can tell you, if you do hit your finger with the edge, that will do serious damage. The reason it hasn't damaged my finger is because I hit it towards the middle of the can. Not quite in the middle, you'll see it was a little bit to one side, but it was towards the middle. That was how it works. But I can describe how it felt. If I hold my finger like that, that's how it felt. It felt like I was flicking my finger. That's the feeling I got when I bashed it with the can. That's about as accurate as I can be to describe to you how it feels. I flicked my finger like that, and that's how it felt. But the secret is you must go so fast and really hard and hit the can in exactly the right place, or as near as you can towards the middle of the can. But I just wanted to show you the forces involved and how strange it is. So what is going on? So remember what we saw. You saw me push it down, it pushed it in. And in that case, when I did it, do you remember the can didn't even dent in at all? It didn't even move at all. Now when you done it, it's possible that when you pushed it down slowly against the plasticine like that, you might have felt the can give a bit, and when you took it away there might have been a small dent there, because that actually does usually happen, to be honest. When I did it, it didn't. So, because I pushed it slowly, I think was the difference. I pushed it slowly, and only, in your case, probably a small dent appeared, but maybe it was the same as mine. But then, remember when I turned it around, I rotated it around. Now this is the actual can we used, and look at the difference. And hardly any damage. Remember, that was the bit we hit, and look, even now I've left it as it was, hardly any dent there. A little bit of a mark. If I roll it forward, you might be able to see the little lines very faintly. Doesn't matter if you can't, because look, there's lines there when I was squashing it from the lines on the can. But when I hit it here, whack. And I did it hard. You saw how hard I did it. Hardly dented it at all. Yeah, a big dent there. So, we now need to just think what's going on. We've got to think first, there's something in science and in physics about forces of motion called inertia. Now inertia is all to do with how much stuff something's made of, and you can think of inertia of the resistance of something to move, or to resist the way it's already moving. If it's already, say, going in a straight line, it doesn't like changing. Okay, so inertia is the resistance of something to change what it's doing, if you like. Of course that's not doing much right now, is it? You can overcome inertia more easily by trying to change what it's doing more slowly. So when I first pushed down on here with, say, this can, it actually was the same can I used, but let's pretend it was this one, because remember it didn't actually dent it, did it? When I pushed slowly, I was using lots of force. You saw when I pushed it, and probably when you did it the same, you lean on it quite hard, and we were overcoming the inertia quite slowly, so the plasticine gave way and deformed and flattened out. Okay, so that, and I think you could have predicted that even before I even told you what to do. This probably wouldn't have been so easy to predict, because now something rather weird happens. When you do it really fast, one thing that happens straight away is when we whack it like that, there's more force behind the motion, because the amount of force that hits it from the can is also to do with how fast the force hits it. So on this one it was quite slow, wasn't it? We just pushed it down slow and I just showed you that one. This one I did it really fast. So when you do it really fast, there's more force travelling for a start. By the time it hits it, there's more force. The other thing is we're trying to change its shape. But remember what I said, things don't like changing what they're doing. And if you try and change it too fast, it's just not so easy. Here we were changing it slowly, and that's why it deformed quite easily. Here I was trying to change it fast by doing it really fast. And this plasticine just resisted. It didn't want to change that quickly. So all the force of the impact actually ended up going up in the can, which obviously did change quickly. And that's how come you ended up with a dent in the can and not the plasticine. So let's think of a few variables. And by the way, if you're going to try this again with some other variables, you will need some more cans. That's one of the reasons why I've got several here, because you're going to need a few to have a go with. Although that is a variable, I suppose. You could see what happens if you use the same can. But I suggest when you do it totally from scratch, use new cans with no dents in. Okay? So what things could we try apart from that? Well, we could try and make this a different size, couldn't we? Start off with a sausage that's much thinner, say, thin as your little finger. and see what happens. Does that make a difference, the size of the sausage, or make it bigger, of course, that way? What about if we find a different material than plasticine? You're going to need something you can roll into shape, but maybe blue tack? I wonder if blue tack will work. A bit like plasticine, isn't it? I wonder if it'd be very much the same, or will it behave differently? Blue tack is a different material after all. Actually, there's different sorts of plasticine and modelling putty. Okay, and of course some of you don't know this as plasticine. Some people call this modelling clay or modelling putty. So maybe try and find some other things you can use that you can roll into a shape. There may be something in the kitchen that your parents or a grown-up would use to cook with as well. Some normal dough to make bread or cakes, roll it in and see if you can do it. Because this is quite firm, isn't it? Quite hard. I wonder if it would work with something that was softer, and see what it does there. See if you can think of a few more things.